In 1944, the fate of the world hung in the balance. World War II was at a tipping point. The Allies were secretly planning the largest amphibious invasion in history to liberate Nazi-occupied France. This was but they had a massive, potentially fatal problem. Adolf Hitler knew an invasion was coming. He just didn't know where. If he correctly guessed the landing spot, the entire invasion could be crushed, the war could be lost, and the world plunged into darkness. The stakes couldn't have been higher, so the Allies devised a plan, not with bullets, but with brains. A plan so audacious, so elaborate, it would be called the greatest deception in military history. This is the story of Operation Fortitude. The Allied High Command knew they had to mislead the Germans. The most logical place for an invasion was Pas-de-Calais, the shortest sea route from Britain to France. The Germans knew this too, and had heavily fortified the area. The Allies' real target was Normandy, a less obvious, but also less defended, stretch of coastline. Their mission was to convince Hitler that the main attack was coming at Calais and that any landing at Normandy was just a diversion. To do this, they didn't just need a lie, they needed to build an entirely new reality. They needed to create a ghost army. Across the fields of southern England, a phantom force began to appear. This was the first US Army Group, or FUSAG. On the surface, it looked like a million-strong invasion force, bristling with power. But it was all an illusion. The tanks that rumbled across the landscape were not made of steel, but of rubber inflatable decoys, pumped up by a handful of men. The vast airfields were filled with wooden airplanes, meticulously crafted to look real from the sky. Dummy landing craft lined the shores, pointing toward Calais. German reconnaissance planes flew overhead, taking pictures of this massive military buildup and reporting back exactly what the Allies wanted them to see. They were photographing a ghost. But a ghost army needs a ghost commander. And for this role, the Allies chose the one man the Germans feared more than any other, General George S. Patton. Patton was famous for his aggressive, unstoppable style of warfare. His very presence was a weapon. The Allies deliberately leaked his appointment as the commander of FUSAG. German spies watched as Patton toured the fake camps, loudly inspecting his non-existent troops. It gave fear he staged speeches to empty fields, knowing his every move was being monitored. He was playing the part of a lifetime, acting as the leader of an army that existed only in the minds of his enemies. It was a masterclass in psychological warfare. The deception extended far beyond visual tricks. The airwaves themselves became a battlefield. A dedicated team of radio operators created a storm of fake transmissions. Day and night, they broadcast thousands of messages, mimicking the radio traffic of a real army preparing for invasion. They discussed imaginary troop movements, complained about food shortages, ordered fuel supplies for divisions that didn't exist, and coordinated battle plans, all pointing directly at Calais. German intelligence officers, listening in from across the channel, intercepted every word. They meticulously pieced together this puzzle of lies, and the picture it formed was crystal clear. FUSAG was real, and it was coming for Calais. The trap was being set. At the very heart of this web of deceit was one extraordinary individual, a Spanish double agent named Juan Pujol Garcia, known to the British as Garbo and to the Germans as Alaric Arabelle. Garbo was perhaps the greatest double agent of the war. He had convinced the German High Command that he ran a network of spies all over Britain. In reality, every single one of his agents was a complete fabrication. Working closely with his MI5 handlers, Garbo sent over 300 coded messages to his German contacts. He reported on Patton's movements, confirmed the strength of the Phantom Army, and provided irrefutable proof that Calais was the one and only target. His reports were so trusted, so convincing, that Hitler himself reviewed them. Garbo was feeding the German war machine the very lies that would lead to its downfall. As the real invasion date, June 6th, approached, the deception entered its final, critical phase. On the night of June 5th, while the largest fleet ever assembled quietly sailed for Normandy, the Allies launched a final diversionary operations. Operation Glimmer and Operation Taxable, RAF bombers flew in precise patterns over the sea towards Calais. dropping clouds of aluminum strips called window. These strips reflected German radar waves, creating the illusion of a massive naval convoy steaming across the channel. On their radar screens, German operators saw a ghost fleet appearing out of the darkness, heading straight for them. Frantic calls went up. The chain of command, the invasion, they believed, had begun. At Pas-de-Calais, Hitler took the bait, hook, line, and sinker. Convinced that the landings at Normandy were merely a feint to draw his forces away from the real battle at Calais, he made a catastrophic decision. He ordered the powerful 5th 10th Army and his elite panzer divisions to stay put at Calais, waiting for Patton's Phantom Army, while thousands of Allied soldiers stormed the beaches of Normandy, Utah, Gold, Juno, and Sword, facing a brutal storm of machine gun fire and artillery. They had one crucial advantage the Germans had been denied: the element of surprise. The German high command was paralyzed, waiting for a main attack that would never come. For 2 full days after the Normandy landings, Hitler stubbornly refused to believe he had been fooled. He held his reserves back, still certain that Patton was about to strike at Calais. Those 2 days were critical. They gave the Allies just enough time to overcome the fierce resistance on the beaches and establish a secure foothold in France. By the time Hitler finally realized the truth that Normandy was the one and only invasion, it was too late. The Allied bridgehead was secure. The path to the liberation of Europe was open. Operation Fortitude was a masterpiece. It was a war fought not with weapons, but with imagination. Inflatable tanks, wooden planets, a ghost general, and a fictional spy ring had outsmarted one of the most ruthless regimes in history. The soldiers who inflated those rubber tanks and the radio operators who sent those fake messages were as vital to the success of D-Day as the men who stormed the beaches. They built a ghost army, fooled the most dangerous man alive, and helped turn the tide of the war without firing a single shot. This was the operation that fooled Hitler, the great deception that changed the course of history. Thanks for watching. If you found this story as incredible as I do, please hit that like button.